Okay, hi, Pastor Ken.
Hi.
Welcome back to our discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah. So today I would love us to discuss about a topic which is very rampant in our generation, the topic of cheating in marriages, or just cheating too while dating. Yeah, so Pastor Ken, I want to hear a man's perspective on cheating. In this regard, I know of women who date men that cheat on them, but they're so convinced that these men still love them. So can a man love you and still cheat on you?
Yes, it's very possible that a man can love a wife, yes, to be specific, a wife, and still cheat on them. Reason behind that, there are so many reasons behind that a man can be able to come to the place of cheating, but they still love their wives. Number one, it's the issue of immaturity. Yes. When we talk about immaturity here, what we mean from the place, for example, talking from the perspective of a believer, a person that is not immature and they have taken a step of getting married, and then they have not yet come to the place of fully understanding the purpose of marriage and coming to the place of fully appreciating who their partners are in marriage, they would come to the place of cheating. And on the same issue, there is also the place of what are some of the habits that were there before you came into the place of marriage? Because they say that many of the habits that are not worked on during the dating times, well, you will carry them over to your marriage. And sometimes, if maybe any of the partners had some of those issues while they were dating, you will find out that even when they get to marriage, they will still also come to the place of cheating. So it's important, and that's why I think one of our conversations we talked about men, and also, okay, both of the partners come into the place of fully working on themselves and coming to the place of maturity. Maturing, not only maturing in terms of knowing scriptures and being a prayerful person, not only that kind of maturing, but also coming to the place where they are whole in their emotions, that they can have a healthy self-concept of themselves as individuals. Because it's a person that doesn't have a healthy self-concept that will not have boundaries in their lives, because that's also another thing that leads to people getting to cheat, especially men. When a man does not have boundaries, a man that is a yes type of a man, that anything they are told, they say yes. Anything you bring to them, their answer is yes. This is a man that will find themselves in a place where they can cheat and cheat so easily. Another thing that would lead a man to the place of cheating is dissatisfaction in their emotions. Is the man satisfied emotionally? And when I talk about dissatisfaction in their emotions, there is also the place of intimacy. When we are talking about intimacy, intimacy is a broad word. And many times when people talk about intimacy, they only narrow it down to physical intimacy. As much as physical intimacy to a man is so important, because men love physical intimacy. And that is one of the things that would make a man stay with a woman, when men are satisfied physically. That when I talk about physical satisfaction here, I'm talking about sex. Men love sex. That is very key for every woman to know. And when a man that is not satisfied sexually is a man that can be able to go outside to look for sex out there. But when we are also talking about intimacy, it's not only physical, it's not only sexual intimacy, but also there is a place of intellectual intimacy. There is the place of financial intimacy. There is also a place of faith intimacy. Now, all these, they also add up to making sure that this person emotionally, he has come to the place where he is satisfied. So a person that is not, if both of us are not, your intellectual capacity is not the same as my intellectual capacity. When I start some particular conversations, we are not able to have certain conversations in our marriage. So you find out that a man that is adventurous and the woman is limited maybe in their understanding or in the information that they have. There is also something that can lead a man to cheating and can lead a man to going out there as much as they love this particular person. Because a man gets excited very fast, especially when they find another person that they can be able to relate with. They are having conversation and they can be able to click in the conversations that they are having. You find out that there is an intimacy that comes with this person is intellectually, like their intellectual capacity seems to measure up with their intellectual capacity. Now, and that's why it's important for the people that are married. When they get married, they need to make up their minds to come to the place of growing together as a couple. And when I talk about growing together, this is the place where now we are willing to make sure that it's okay. We knew some stuff before we came together. And this actually should not start from the place of marriage. This should start in the phase of dating towards getting married. That when we come together, we need to start bringing together materials that will build us up. Because I think I told, there's a time we were having a conversation, and there is something that is very key for us to know. In marriage, when we come to marriage, marriage is not kept by love. Marriage is kept by knowledge. What you know is what will keep your marriage. And that's why now, as a couple, you have to make sure that you start to grow together. What are some of the beliefs that you people held? And some of those beliefs, you have to make sure that you put those beliefs away and now decide as a couple, who are the people that we will start to follow, so that we can be able to, we can start to adapt their belief system, and we can start to believe in them, and this is what will chart our path in marriage. Through that, you are growing in intimacy. But you find out, in many cases, you find out one partner is growing and the other partner is not growing. And that can form a very big gap that will cause one partner to feel that when I come home, there is something that I'll not be able to find at home. But that same thing, I can find it somewhere else. You can find it with someone that maybe, for example, I'm spiritually mature, and when I come home, my wife or my husband is not spiritually mature, so there is conversations that we cannot be able to have. But out there, you can be able to have such conversations. And while you are having with that particular person, without your knowledge, there is a connection that is developing. And as the connection develops with that particular person, eventually you might find yourself coming to a place of intimacy physically with that particular person. Maybe to mention, the last thing that would cause a husband to cheat is the moment that they come to the place of babies. Many times when a woman gives birth, their focus, their attention is narrowed down to the children, and they forget the husband. Now, as much as the husband needs to be there to support the woman also needs to understand that as much as I have a child, I also have another child in that same house who is my husband, who also needs to be taken care of. Now, I am not saying that all the work should be left to the wife. The husbands also needs to take up some responsibility and help the wives. And as they take up the responsibility of helping, the wives also need to see and respond and realize that this man should not be left out. And I should not only focus on the children, I should also give him time. So that is very key, especially in times where children, during pregnancy, after pregnancy, that period is a period where you can find that many men will always cheat, because sometimes maybe after giving birth, for example, if a woman gave birth through CS, it means a man has to wait for almost 6 to 8 to 10 weeks until there is sex again. During pregnancy, there can be complications during pregnancy, and you find out that maybe the man will not find sex from the woman. So during that period, if the man is not understanding, if the man is immature, if the man has some issues and with himself, you might find out during that period that man can find himself cheating.
Wow. Hey, I've learned a lot. But I want to know, I think my biggest takeout is you must have a partner that you can have difficult conversations with. So, Alec, what can hinder a man from having a complex talk with their woman regarding issues like, I don't think you're giving me enough time? Because I'm assuming for them to go and cheat, they must have attempted to at least talk to the woman. But how come there was no what we call competition? Yeah.
Number one, men's ego. That is one of the things. A man's ego can deter him from having such a conversation. And that's why a man, the reason sometimes we preach the gospel so that people can be born again is because this particular man will come to the place where he is submitted under Jesus Christ, and their ego is being crushed every day by the Holy Spirit, and they can start to be guided by the Holy Spirit to a place where their ego is not what is controlling them, but right now they are under the control of another force, which is the force of the Holy Spirit or God. So a man's ego can be a hindrance of him having such conversations, because he feels as a man, men love to be praised. Men love to be in control. Men love to feel that they are kings. And anytime he feels that this particular woman does not give me what I need, because a man's ego wants to be fed each and every time. So when he feels that is not happening to him, he might feel that this is not the person that I should have such a conversation. And he desires that you as a person should know actually what he really needs. And you can be able to provide what he needs without you asking them. And that's why you will find out a man that will keep asking for a particular thing from a woman, he will get tired very easily. And that's why in our last conversation, we talked about nagging. Sometimes a man would feel, because a man doesn't want to feel like he is nagging from the place where he sits. He wants the woman to be able to respond and to know that he needs particular things, and the woman can be able to respond with offering what he needs.
The key issue is the ego.
Yes.
Any other issue that can hinder a man from having a very difficult talk with a woman?
Well, now, maybe insecurities. Yes, insecurities. And also, now, most of the times, insecurities and their ego. Yes. What are some of the insecurities of this particular man? Yes. And you see, sometimes the insecurities also feed to the ego of that particular man. Yes. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, the reverse question.
Yes.
Can a woman cheat on you, but still really loves you?
Well, when it comes to the women, when a woman, before a woman can be able to cheat on their husbands, it would take a lot of time. And when a woman gets to the place where she wants to cheat on their husbands, she has already lost their love for the husband. Simple.
Is that an assumption or a fact?
Well, it's not an assumption because because even a woman, before a woman can be able to be sexually intimate or physically intimate with another man, it might take a lot of time. It might take a lot of time, especially women that understand themselves. Now, while I'm talking about fees, I'm not talking about loose women, because we have loose women out there. We have women that are in different kinds of struggles out there, that for them, pleasure is something that they think it's something that you can give to any man. But in this particular scenario, I'm talking about a woman that is dignified, a woman that has values, a woman that is also a Christian. Now, a woman that has values, before they can come to the place of cheating on their husbands, it will have taken a lot of time. And when I'm talking about time here, I'm also, what I also mean is there's a woman that they have stayed with this man, and they have felt, this man, we are not going in the same direction. This man is not the man that I want in my life. Or according to our conversations with this man, this is not the kind of a man I would come to the place of even spending the rest of my life with. But if a woman knows very well that as much as even the men, even the women that have been cheat on and they have values, it's not very easy for them to come to the place of cheating. Yes.
Okay, so Pastor Ken,
Yes.
like when your man cheats and cheats and cheats on you, yeah,
Yes.
he's violating your trust
Yes.
and maybe a sense of self-worth.
Yes.
So sometimes a woman might feel like cheating,
Yes.
just to make the man understand what he puts her through when he cheats.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
It's important to understand that the very first thing, when a person decides to stay with you, it means that they love you. So, and a person that would decide, and now let me go back and say this, that when a person cheats on you, you have a legal ground. That is even from the scriptures. You have a legal ground to leave that particular person. You also have a chance to forgive that particular person. And it's important for the partner that have cheated to decide on what they really want. From that particular place, when you decide what you really want, there are things that you might not be able to do. So a partner that has decided that I want, this person has hurt me, I am not able to move on from here. And you feel in yourself, because I believe that before you can take any action, you want to actually, you have to think through it. So in your thinking and in your feeling, you want to also hurt this another person. Now, instead of hurting this other person, so that the person can go through what you've gone through, how about you decide, because I already have a legal ground to divorce this particular person and stay away from this particular person. What about you decide to stay away from them? Because the moment that you decide to hurt them, they will also be hurt. So that means these are two people that are in the same house that are hurt. Now, you hurt him from a place of wanting to make him feel the same thing that you're feeling. It will be different from him that cheated on you, and maybe he cheated on you. I'm using the word maybe. Maybe he cheated on you from a place of he didn't want to do it. And maybe he is remorseful. He would want to continue being in this marriage, and he would want to become a better person. And he would want you as their partner to be able to hold them together so that they can be able to come to the place where they have become better versions of themselves. So if you go contrary to what is in their hearts, it means you will hurt them more than what they actually did to you. And that now, as much as he violated your trust, you're also violating their trust towards you. So that means already there is a broken home. You've actually broken it, kabisa. So, and that's why I'm saying, because when you decide on what you want as an individual, if you decide you want to forgive him, now, from the place of deciding you want to forgive him, allow him now, give him a chance and have those conversations. Have the conversation of, you cheated on me. What are the steps that you're willing to take to make sure that you rebuild trust in me, you rebuild my self-worth? So that is where now, and even as the person that has cheated on the other partner, they have to make sure now they start to set boundaries. They start to be so open with their wives. They start to make sure that they do everything possible to make sure that they are rebuilding trust. They have to make sure that they are affirming their wives, that they are there. And if there be any struggle that they are struggling with, let them open it up to their wives or their husbands and tell them, by the way, I feel that this is a struggle that I have within me. How can you help me as an individual? How can we help one another so that we can become better versions of ourselves? So it's important for us to understand that if a person has cheated on you, if either of the parties have cheated on one another, the very first thing, you need to calm down and ask yourself, what do I want for my emotional well-being? And from the decision of what you want, when you decide on what to do, then that sets the ground of the next step that you will take and the next action that you will take as an individual.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I feel like cheating out of revenge can make you lose your own principles that you had set for yourself initially.
Yes.
And even if this thing fails to work in the long term, you would have lost yourself in this particular marriage, relationship.
Yes.
So I prefer just stepping out
Yes.
and holding on to yourself as you rebuild, instead of staying and then violating yourself as they violated you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas speaking to maybe someone that is out there that is a believer, we also need to understand that we are believers. Before, as much as we would want to be emotionally okay, there are standards that we need to live by. Now, the Bible is clear on the grounds of divorce, but also the Bible also tells us that God hates divorce. So God hates divorce, but the Bible is also clear on the rules that are supposed to lead to the place of divorce. So as an individual, as much as you might come to the place of thinking about divorce, have you tried forgiveness? It's important. Have you tried forgiveness? Have you tried to work on your marriage and you've come to the place where it's impossible? So we that are believers need not to allow our emotions to speak more louder than what the Bible says. We need to allow the scriptures to be louder to us than what we are feeling as individuals.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like you've answered my next question, which was, in the event kuna this dance between I love him, he loves me, but he keeps on hurting me, what should I do?
Well, there are two sides of that. I mentioned about a healthy self-concept. Now, if an individual has a wrong self-image, or how they perceive themselves is wrong, they can allow that to happen. Because that means an individual that doesn't have a healthy self-concept means this is a person that doesn't have boundaries. This is a person that doesn't know how they are supposed to be loved. Because as an individual, I need to know how I'm supposed to be loved by my partner. So if my partner does not express love to me the way I would expect him to express love to me, it's important I speak to him about it. And if he is not willing to change and compromise and abide to how I know that this is how I'm supposed to be loved, then that means he's not the best person for me. So if a person can keep hurting me, and I have forgiven him once, I have forgiven him twice, it means that this is not the right person for me, because a person that truly loves me will not hurt me. A person that truly loves me, as much as, now for example, if they truly love me and they hurt me, I would see an effort of them becoming a better person or trying to become a better version of themselves. So, and that's why I'm saying it's two-sided, that a person can hurt you and they love you. And as they are hurting you and they love you, if you confront the issue, this person will start working on themselves towards becoming a better person. So if as a person I see that individual is working on themselves to become a better person, that is a person that I can give room. I think we were talking about forbearance. That is a person that I can forbear with. But there is this other individual that I have confronted the issue and the individual is not willing to change. The individual keeps repeating the same thing, and there are no actions, there is no effort towards change. Then that means that that is not an individual that I would allow in my space, because that means this individual will keep hurting me. Because as we said, habits that I will tolerate maybe in my dating phase, they will also be carried to my marriage. So it's important that if the person keeps repeating the same thing and they are not willing to change, it's important you have that conversation. And I would recommend you stay away from that particular person. Whereas now, the last thing is what we've talked about. I believe it's good I clarify on that. There is a person that maybe they have grown up seeing their father harassing their mother, or their mother harassing their father. And that's how the home has been. And when this person is growing up, they saw the mother staying in the marriage, they saw the father staying in the marriage, or they saw them staying in the relationships. This is a person that can grow up knowing, even if a man hurts me, I'm not supposed to leave them. So, and that's why we talk about as an individual. That's why you need to allow yourself. There needs to be an introspection of yourself. What are some of the things that maybe you grew up seeing that are contrary to what is actually right? And now you need to start, and that's why we talk about working on ourselves, working on our images, working towards us becoming whole people, working towards the place of coming to the place where we truly love ourselves. And I say loving ourselves is not the loving ourselves that the world represents. Because according to the world, or according to the people out there, maybe whatever people might define as loving yourself, maybe it's dressing well, that because you've bought a good cloth, you feel good about yourself. Now, many times someone said that a person that is pressured and a person that desires validation, there is a person that is actually struggling with identity issues. And if you have to have something so that that thing can validate the kind of a person that you are, it means there is a place of wholeness, there is a dimension of wholeness that you've not yet attained. So it's important we work on ourselves. We work on our identity. We work on our self-concept. We work on loving ourselves. And from that particular place, we can be able to know that if a person deals with me in this way, this is not the kind of a person I would want. This is the kind of a person that I would want.
that somebody can think they love me and they always cheat on me and it's okay, but that's not the kind of love that I want.
Yes.
Yes. Because I feel like most of us want to move on and we're like, I'm a honey pendi, then I can move on. But sometimes it's okay to say they love me, but their love was not enough for me.
Yes, yes, yes. This is not how I'm supposed to be
Yes,
loved.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we're coming to church, yeah?
Yes.
And in church, yeah,
Yes.
there's this thing where we believe in abstaining till marriage
Yes.
and being celibate until marriage.
Yes.
So sometimes you find that a lady is in love with a man that loves her as well, and she loves him, but he ain't willing to become like to abstain with her.
Yes.
So he goes around and sleeps around or looks for one person to sleep with as he waits for this lady.
Yes.
So what's your take on that? Because I've seen it. It's quite it's quite rampant. I've seen it.
Yes.
Where women are waiting until marriage, but they're waiting alone. The person you should be waiting with is having sex.
Now, if a person says that they love you, they are willing to wait. A person that is not willing to wait doesn't love you.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Because if I come to you and I'm promising you marriage, it means, what are my values? What are the principles that I have decided to live by? Because those also should inform my other partner what they expect from me. So if, for example, if I decide that I want to sleep around and my partner is waiting, it means that even when we get to marriage, I will not be satisfied. I'll still look for other people. It's as simple as that. So what are the values? What are my principles? And also, we are talking about church here. What is our standard? What is the way of the Lord concerning the dating phase, that phase of courtship? Should I be able to sleep around and I'm still waiting? No, it's not supposed to be that way. The standard according to the word of God is we are supposed to be celibate. Both of us, not one party, that I'm supposed to abstain until the place of marriage. We need to remember that sex was not created for people that are not married. Sex was created for the purpose of reproduction and for the purpose of intimacy. And the jurisdiction of sex is in marriage, not even in relationship. The jurisdiction that has been set apart for sex is marriage. It's not a relationship. Yes.
There's this mentality that some women have that if a man sleeps around, but he still chose me to marry, that means I am the apple of his eye. So I am the girl that he loves and the girl that he chose.
And that's why we need to ask ourselves, what's our definition of being loved?
Okay.
Yes, what's our definition of being loved? Okay. Because if being loved, if a person, you can allow a person to go out there and sleep around because the person has promised you heaven, it means you have a wrong self-concept of yourself. Yes. So if as an individual you have come to the place where you are upholding Christian values, you should expect your partner to uphold the same values. And if he does not uphold those values, he will not uphold them in marriage. He will still cheat on you in marriage. And then from that particular place, you will be more hurt. So right now, you better run very far away from him as early as now. Yes.
I think the question that most ladies ask is, are there good men around? So if you get somebody who looks like he loves you and he speaks to you, that can be enough,
There are good men out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are good men that are willing to live by the standards of the Word of God. There are good men that are willing to live with one woman. There are good men out there that are willing to love a woman and make sure that they protect that particular woman. There are such men out there. And the thing is, you just need to wait on God and God will provide such kind.
And if they never come along?
Now, it's also important for us to ask ourselves, what is the will of God concerning my life in terms of marriage? Because sometimes we are also so quick that we want to get married. You are in your 20s, you're in 25, maybe you've gotten to 30, and maybe you think, I'm late for marriage. But what is the timing of God concerning the issue of marriage for me? Because God works with times and seasons. And if God works with times and seasons, there is a particular set time that He has set that you're supposed to get married. So unless that time has passed, now from that particular place, you can start being worried. But if you know very well, if you're walking as a discerning and a sensitive Christian, you will understand that my time to get married is not yet. But many of us are in pressure. Many of us are pressured to get married, which is not right.
Wow. I know for a fact that most ladies who never had present fathers, they have this behavior of excusing bad behavior in men. So like you meet a man and he ain't calling, he ain't texting, and you're like, maybe he's busy, or maybe he was hurt before. So let me give him time to to heal as I'm still pursuing him. Or maybe he's shy. So you figure out, how can I reach out to him? Like, you tend to really excuse men who are not available for you emotionally when you've been hurt before. So I want you to tell us, how do men behave when they're intentional with a woman? When a man decides, she's the one I want to marry, how do these men behave?
A man that has decided that this is the woman that I want to pursue, number one, that man will be intentional in pursuing that particular woman in every way. From the place of communication, that man will be intentional. The man, there is no day a man that is intentional and is planning to get married to you will cease to speak to you and will cease to communicate to you. At any moment that you find out that the communication of a man has ceased, you just know that that man is not interested. But it's also important for you to understand, as much as we are talking about excusing the man, it's also to know how is the schedule of this man. It's also good to understand that. But a man that truly loves you, a man that is intentionally pursuing you for marriage, he will communicate, even when the circumstances will not allow him. He will make sure that he has informed you of what is going on. But if you find out maybe the schedule or how you used to communicate has changed, it's something that should concern you, especially as a woman. It should concern you, and you should come to the place of confronting him and asking him what is happening. So number one thing, a man that is intentionally pursuing a woman will be able to communicate well. Number two, he will treat the woman like a queen. He will make sure that the woman that he is pursuing, that woman has been affirmed. That woman is being treated well. And you see now also, we also need to come to the place of asking ourselves, what is treating a woman well? Yes. Because each and every individual, there is a way they believe that this is how they need to treat their woman well. And some of us, it's maybe because of something we've seen out there, when maybe we've seen men buying gifts for their women, but maybe that's not what your woman wants. Maybe, and that's why now we talk about love languages. As a man, it's important to understand, what is the love language of my wife? And when you know what's the love language of your wife, you can be able now to make sure that you show her love with her love language. So a man, that is number two. A man will treat their women as queens if they know that this is a woman that I want to get married to. And maybe and then lastly, a man will be proud of their women. We have many men out there that want to hide their relationships. that want to keep their relationships a secret. This is an alarm. Any man that wants to keep their relationship a secret is that relationship will end up one day. That man will end that relationship and is just using the woman. Truly is. They really don't love that particular woman.
Define being secretive. Is it like not posting on social media?
I'm not talking about posting on social media. I'm talking about even his friends does not know that he is in a relationship with this particular person. Yes, a man that is in a relationship with a particular person will be so proud to share, to let the world know that I love this particular woman. Yes.
Pastor Ken, as you're winding up, there's this trend that is really common in our generation where you meet a guy, you guys have a very nice time together,
Yes.
and you can tell they like you. At least you can pick that up.
Yes.
And of course you like them.
Yes.
And then they go disappearing for a couple of days. What most people think that means is this man wants now the lady to also affirm him that she's into him. So the girl is, like, the man is asking for validation indirectly. But do you think that can really, like, that foundation can really work in marriage?
You see, the men that we have right now, I think so many of us are also weak as men, and because and that's why we will keep repeating the place of working on ourselves, the place of coming to the place of wholeness. That particular place is very important for any individual. And a man, and the reason why I think when we were having a discussion about singleness, the reason why we need our men to come to the place of being single, being whole, being separate, is because in that particular place, that's when their identity are being formed. That's when they are coming to the place of security in their identity. A man that is secure in their identity will not have the pressure of being validated. But a man that is insecure in their identity will want to be validated. The same way with a woman. A woman that is not secure with their identity will want to be validated. Whereas sometimes women loves compliments, but if you find out that if that compliment is not there, you feel bad about yourself. Just know that there is a gap in your there is a gap in your identity, security of your identity. But a woman and a man that are secure in their identity, they will not seek to be validated because they have validated themselves. Yes.
I think, like, again, my biggest takeout is somebody can like you, but is this how you want to be liked?
Yes.
Yes.
It's very important. It's very important as an individual to understand this is how I'm supposed to be loved. Yes.
Like, they loved me wrong and I don't want their love anymore. I want a different kind of love. Yes.
Yes. But now also we need to know that we really don't need to expect so much, because sometimes our expectations can also lead us to the place of not having the right person. But you can have the right person, but that just needs to be communicated to, that this is me. This is how I would want this thing to be done to me. And that's why it's important, because it's very important. Every person that is willing to come into the place of getting into a relationship, it's important to speak and air out your expectations. It's very important. And it's very important you air out your expectations. What are your expectations from your partner? Because if you don't air out your expectations, this is a person that doesn't know you. So, but when you are able to air out your expectations, he knows what you would need from him. And whatever he might not be able to provide, he will be willing to communicate to you and tell you, maybe you will allow me. In this one, it seems difficult for me. Can you give me time to grow, or give me time to become a person that can be able to deliver this?
I never knew love is an assignment. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming, Pastor Ken. I really learned a lot. I always learn a lot. Yeah. And thank you guys for joining in.